All right. Well, with that out of the way, welcome home, Romonger, and hopefully this Made RPG session turns out even more and more fun as it's building and building. Tin Cat says, I honestly think the greatest part of this community is the general love that surrounds it. Everyone is so friendly and compliments everyone. It literally is better than a family, and everyone is so dedicated to maintaining that kind of environment. It's personally, Tin Cat, this is what I try and foster at the shop, and I love that that is happening here as well, and it's doing so in a natural state. This is your all's natural the English predisposition to do so. Admittedly, there's a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. Um, I was a little bit worried because unfortunately Twitch can have a reputation for having a lot of trolls, and I don't mean the kind you fight in D&D, or a lot of negativity, or there's just there's things that surround it, or am I going to have a toxic chat? And these are all things that I sat down and heavily considered. I said, you know what, I'm still going to do it anyway because I think we can do something like this here. And I do believe that we've been successful and in an organic fashion. Like, I haven't had to corral people. I haven't had to, nanny like tut tut, shush shush, or anything like that. Romonger, no rest for the wicked. Back to work after 2 days of, well, 3 with the time traveling. Yeah, that's right. You got to be in the future. Did Japan have flying cars? While that question is being answered, I wanted to go over things. No troll, just a Knoll. I'm happy we picked up a Knoll, honestly. Norton's been really good. I'd say he's being a good boy, but you can't scratch him behind the ear because he'll bite your hand off. All right, so the generation process we are using is going to be pretty much the same as it will be for a player's handbook character. The difference is we're going to be drawing racial stats from Volos. No flying cars, sadly. Yeah. Well, I hope you had a lot of fun. You ate a lot of good food. Maybe you made some friends, saw some sights, brought back a souvenir, and you'll be recognized for your efforts, Romonger. Problem with Volo is that most of the time his books and information are written with a heavy bias against the monsters he supposedly studies, places he visits, and all that. Watsy probably does this intentionally because he's some huge guy who thinks he knows it all. Well, we're talking about Knowles Norton, and you may be a good boy, but people can't just reach in to scratch your ear because you might bite them. If only as a reflex. Yeah, bubonic, and some of the fluff in here, they do fluff it up with that. Look, I'm a humanoid from a civilized area, and these are my notes. Though you'll see that it does break the fourth wall a bit with talk to your DM, or goblins are usually neutral evil because they're selfish creatures, or they tend to be selfish, but yours might not be. We're going to leave the fluff, a lot of the fluff, to the side, and really only worry about the mechanics of the race. Oh no, death count! Don't do it! Don't do it! Okay, so while this isn't as pretty looking, we're still going to use the chart that you made up for a lot of what we're doing here, Bubonic. But this is a quick little one-page reference in Matty Morg's guide to Volo's guide to monsters as player characters. A guide. Goblins make an awesome character race. Any goblin who has a PC class is super special. Oh my gosh, Romonger. That is a crazy schedule. So many guides, but they're here condensed. They're condensed for your consumption, Torchic. And of course, I mean, this isn't worded to be intimidating. This is supposed to be a little bit of a, a wink, like a wink and a good smile, because I apparently work at the Department of Redundancy Department. Yeah, I understand, Romonger. A lot of that stress. Everything was new, and yeah, that. And then of course, there was always the fact that you were playing Fallout 3 and or 4. I mean, there's probably radiation in the other ones too, but uh, the fact that you're working in radioactive environments, hazard suits. You got to take like Rad-X to keep down your radiation in your blood, that kind of a thing. All right, we are going to roll percentile to determine male, female, or multi-class character. 64, we have a male something. Bubonic, not so much with kobolds because they believe they're special, and they reverse of them who aren't. Yeah, a wink and a woo. Okay, we have this. Now, you can break down the races in Volo's guide in two ways if you wish. There are 7 like official races, or like that are expanded, discussed. However, it does extend PC stats into bugbears, hobgoblins, kobolds, goblins, that kind of a thing. So if you want to play with what Volos might consider more standard, you can choose from 7. If you want to go for the expanded section, that would be a D13. I figured for what we're doing, you know what? Let's open up the gates. Let's roll a D13 and find out which of the 13 races in Volos we're working with here. So I'm going to generate a 13-sided die and hit roll. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, a Kenku. These are like raven people, crow people. Yep, this will be a lot of fun. I mean, I think all of them will be, but Kenku are very interesting. And if you all saw, Derek is actually working, Macabre Derek is working on a Kenku character himself, has a very interesting concept for it. So we have a male Kenku who is aligned as 85-9. This is going to be lawful evil. Alrighty, now we are going to determine the level on a percentile scale. Whoops, did I roll? Oh, there we go, okay. 72 is going to translate as level 16. Yep, Palliard Cleric can be special because of the evil alignment. That can unlock some domains in the DMG, and now we're getting a little bit of an advanced lesson, like a 201, because we're pulling from 3 different books, and we want to make sure that we don't go crazy. We're going to roll another percentile, and looks like we're going to take stat bumps the entire way. No feats. Once again, we're going to summon our D13, and we're going to determine which background our Kenku has. 13, Urchin. Now for the class, D12. A number 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, we have a cleric. Well, as we have a cleric and we did roll evil, we can look at a couple different domains. Death, which is the DMG one, we weighted heavily because look, if you don't get that often of a chance to be able to invoke it, let's have some fun and explore a death domain cleric. So this is going to be a percentile, a 1 to 70. Though Trickery, Tempest, and War, we also entertain the idea of, yeah, that this would fall under an evil intent. Take our percentile and roll them. 78, a Trickery domain. Bubonic says woot. Yes, I have. And the bloody Torchic says the Raven Queen, though. Okay, now for this stuff here, I took the monster custom info and it's on the other page. The only thing we'll really need to reference from this sheet otherwise is this standard distribution graph for the age range. That's going to be a percentile die. 32. That is going to be just within young adult. Okay, so this is going to go away. Now there's some X's because I didn't fully spread it out yet, but I did put when they're considered, like the bare minimum when they're considered an adult. And I put their venerable age, which is when most of them are going to just naturally pass away. Of course, we do allow for, an ancient of some kind. Although many are gonna pass away with an old, not many. This is coming on the back end of the bell curve for adventurers, remember. Here we go for Kenku. This is the stat line that we are going to reference. Their venerable age is 60. Their young adult age is 12. So that's even a little bit less than humans. This is probably going to be starting at 12, maybe being like a D10. 9. Okay, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ekrail, hey, good to see you, and thank you for the follow. Here we go. Kenku start at 4 feet, 4 inches. We're going to add 2d8 inches to his height. We're adding 12 inches, so he is 5'4". Now we're going to take this same number 12 and multiply it by 1d6, by 1. So now we're adding 12 pounds to his base weight of 50. So he is 62 pounds. Yeah, that's a big turkey. Yeah, doesn't this work out very well, Bubonic? Oh, that's fine, Ek. No problem. I hope things have been going well with you. Oh, you know what? Am I using a standard? No, this is the revamped. Okay. Urchins, by the way, do not have any special origin. Darkwolf, thank you very much for the follow. Or for the host, I mean. I was looking at Ekrail and on the prompt. So there's no interesting, I mean, no unique origin. Although honestly, I don't know, Urchin, we could probably come up with a chart pretty easily. It just presumes that you're some, you know, Oliver Twist kind of street urchin, and that all urchins are the same. When not necessarily. You could be a war orphan. You could be. There's several different types of orphan. You could have just been abandoned and your parents are still alive. That might be fun to do sometime if we want to make some custom content. Anyway, we are finished with this also. We need to roll a couple dice here. 2d8 for personality traits. 5 and 6. Then 3d6 to finish out the background. Ideal 5, bond 3, flaw 5. What does it mean? I don't know, and it doesn't matter right now. Remember, these are placeholders. Don't have to worry about it. We'll tell a story one piece at a time with this character. Noel on a roll. Yeah, work's got me busy. Hotel internet is good enough for, like, crafting and FF, but that's about it. Kind of eating at me. Oh, yeah. Did you ever fix that effect with your camera, or did you keep it because it was kind of a cool-looking thing? All right, I believe we are finished with our random number generation. So now we can get into let's go to our background first. We'll start with that per usual. This is going to flash because I'm scrolling to the end. Urchin is the last one. Okay, I finished that. You want to do Monstrous Origin, I see there, before the non-standard 6 if we... Yeah, we can do something like that, Bubonic. I was going to get into that when we crack open Volos. Curse, it could have just be eaten well. It's a certain species. There's a lot of different ways. I have nothing else. Maybe it was the demonic magic that your people practice, and it just enhances everything. I mean, that depends on the origin story if you believe that you are descendants of hyenas or not. Could have been an Ettin's pet. Oh, that would be interesting to explain. I kind of fixed it, got it to an acceptable level of shadow in one of the corners. Next time I give it a try, I'm going to use a green screen. I'm all right with chroma keying out my hair more so. Oh, that's right. because of the color you went with. Then I am having really obvious edges to my backdrop. And you know what, Eck, what I use behind me here? I went to Walmart and I got a clothes rack. And I went to their fabric department and I bought two... let's see. I bought 2 snips of 3-yard green fabric. And then a little bit of Velcro tape to keep it up on the clothes rack. So I can wheel it around. It can collapse down. It's super easy to move and set up. All right, so here we are. We're this urchin. You know, this really works because Kenku are often, I think even in Volo's guide, they're like hopeless kleptomaniacs or something like that. So our background feature is city secrets. We can get around. We know the shortcuts, the alleyways, that kind of a thing. We are going to be proficient in sleight of hand, such as we have hands, as well as stealth. We will have tool proficiencies with a disguise kit and thieves' tools. Some equipment we'll have is a small knife. And that's something like a little, like a pocket knife or something. Small knife, city map. Pet something. It recommends a mouse, but the Kenku might eat the mouse. I don't know. What kind of a pet would a Kenku have? Oh. We'll come up with something. Token of some kind, which maybe we can make into a trinket. Common clothes. Belt pouch. And 10 gold. This character seems as sneaky as Norton. Yeah, yeah. Crow, a small pet bird would be awesome. Pet mouse name, emergency rations. So it keeps a, what, it would keep like a little rat, and you can call it E-rat. A raven with a pet crow. How meta. We could do something like that, I'm sure. Okay. We have we have all that stuff. Now we need to fill in our personality traits. This is where we're going to define who he is. The numbers, we're just holding that until we got to that point. First personality trait, number 5. I eat like a pig and have bad manners. I'd say he doesn't chew, but he probably doesn't chew. He just throws his head back and goes, as birds do, and they just sort of like let it fall down their throat. Number 6. I think anyone who's nice to me is hiding evil intent. His ideal is 5. People. I help the people who help me. That's what keeps us alive. And this doesn't conflict with anything so far in his personality. Because this is simply reciprocity. This is, oh, you poor dear, let me give you 2 gold for being a beggar on the street. All right, now hang on. You want to kidnap me and like grind me up into something. I don't trust that. Meanwhile, this is, look, you do me a favor, I do you a favor. Gotcha, that makes perfect sense. His bond is number 3. I owe my survival to another urchin who taught me to live on the streets. Or maybe rooftops, as appropriate. His flaw is number 5. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. The crow doesn't have to follow his orders. Yeah, it just the crow, there's no magical connection. It can't report necessarily. Maybe it could mimic or something along those lines. There is a raven that we can actually, like, in the book that we could give him. Come up and say hi to everyone. Come on. Don't just meow at me. Come on. I got pets for you. Speaking of pets. No? You're going to deny this poor urchin your presence? Okay. Oh, are we getting a good idea of who he is now? Oh, come on. He keeps priming. He's looking, and he scrunches up. He's like, I'm going to do it. Oh, hey, there's a thing over here. Now that we have his background, let's hop over to Volo's. And we'll go to Kenku. There is a whole big blurb, just as you'll find in the player's handbook. I'm not interested right now in reading the whole thing and incorporating this fluff into what we're doing. I'm just going to be picking out mechanics, and we'll form the character with whatever content we're going to use. Norton says that, quote, a raccoon said that once. Said what in particular? A cuckoo bird? Cuckoo would be interesting. Or you can give him a little woodpecker or something like that. Knock 50 times if there's trouble. So we have Ancient Curse, Dreams of Flight, Ideal Minions, Kenku Adventurers, Kenku Names, Hopeless Plagiarists, and what we're really looking for is right here. Tinku Traits. Oh, gotcha, Norton. Gotcha. I think I know the raccoon you're talking about then. Ability score increase. Your dexterity score increases by 2 and your wisdom score increases by 1. We're going to put a little rider down here. Dex 2, wisdom 1. We already have our age. Our alignment we already have. We have our size. Our speed is 30 feet. And as they dream of flight, you can imagine 0 fly. We do get something called Expert Forgery. You can duplicate other creatures' handwriting and craftwork. You have advantage on all checks made to produce forgeries or duplicates of existing objects. Kenku Training, you are proficient in your choice of 2 of the following skills: Acrobatics, Deception, Stealth, or Sleight of Hand. We already have Sleight of Hand, so this is going to be Acrobatics, Deception, well, and we already have Stealth, so Acrobatics and Deception it is. There we go. Mimicry. You can mimic sounds you have heard, including voices. A creature that hears the sounds you make can tell they are imitations with a successful wisdom insight, opposed by your charisma deception. We can read and write Common and Auran, but you can speak only by using your mimicry trait. There is a little note in red you'll see here. If you're playing a Kenku, constant attempts to mimic noises can come across as confusing or irritating rather than entertaining. You can just as easily describe the sounds your character makes and what they mean. Be clear about your character's intentions unless you're deliberately aiming for inscrutable or mysterious. You might say, Snapper makes the noise of a hammer slowly and rhythmically tapping a stone to show how bored he is. He plays with his dagger and studies the Lord's Alliance agent sitting at the bar. Creating a vocabulary of noises for the other players to decode might sound like fun, but it can prove distracting and could slow down the game. So it is nice that they said, look, here's a ton of fluff, here's a Kenku in a natural environment, though let's have hashtag real talk, guys. If you go, and then you get upset that the other people at your table aren't understanding your from or something along those lines, that might be more of a you problem by taking this class. So it wants to encourage roleplay, though consider it more like, those noir detectives who have the externalized internal dialogue. Think of things along those lines with this type of a character. That way, unless you have a fun little soundboard or everyone's on board with something, or you're developing a vocabulary of some way, how druids have to keep some kind of a bestiary of things they can transform into. Maybe your Kenku keeps a word diary or a concept diary, and then you can string together those, things, words, concepts like that. Something to talk to with your DM as well as your fellow PCs, and it's something that you should consider. And your DM might just say, "Look, I don't care. You can speak both. You don't have to go through the noises." In which case, still make them. Well, Dex and Wiz are perfect, I think, for this kind of a cleric. Certainly if we were going like war, I don't think we'd really need Dex that much. Norton found it. Oh, is that that's the clip? Darkwolf says, I can talk, can you fly? All right, so there are the racial features. Now let's head over to classes. I don't think we've made a Trickery Cleric yet. Level 16, so we're going to get this stuff right up here. But again, one step at a time, we'll go through the process. It's not quite making a first level character and ramping up, but we're hitting all the parts and we're filling in what needs to be filled in. Our hit dice are 1d8s per level, so we have a total of 16 because we're 16th level. That's just how it works. Armor proficiencies. We have light, medium, and shields. All simple weapons. Our saving throws are wisdom and charisma. We're going to fill in the diamonds here on this sheet to indicate that is how we're proficient. And we are going to choose 2 from history, insight, medicine, persuasion, and religion. There are no overlaps. So I'll write this over here. Let's look over his personality traits. I eat like a pig and have bad manners. I think anyone who's nice to me is hiding evil intent. This could make you think insight, or I could very well see that you wouldn't be proficient in insight if you automatically presume this. I help people who help me. That's what keeps us alive. You could argue, well, you need insight for that, so to show that it's reciprocity. I owe my survival to another urchin who taught me to live on the streets. That could be also insight or maybe persuasion. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. Well, that's definitely persuasion if you're trying to get out of something like that. Or deception on the back end of things. He could know medicine. You know, the urchin who taught him how to live on the streets. Now, this is coming as his cleric, but maybe this is where he learned it, and this is where he got his higher calling, is by being like a street doctor kind of a thing. You know, he'd patch up people who got hurt in a in a burglary job, or even if it was a bunch of other urchins trying to steal to survive, and one of them would like fall and bust their knee open, he'd be the one to to sew it up. So maybe he learned medicine on the streets or insight. I don't know if necessarily. See, things like history and religion, I just. Bubonic Wind is saying insight in history or religion. Medicine could also work. Anyone else have an opinion? Remember that this isn't my character. This isn't, Bubonic One's. This is all of our character. He's throwing out suggestions. I threw out suggestions. If you want to yay or nay something, you're welcome to do so. Oh, you know what? There's actually I can't believe I didn't have a song in the background. There's actually some new tabletop audios here. In fact, one of them, well, our Kenku may not be studying at the Temple of Helm, but we'll still play as kind of a cleric-y background song. If you want to know who Helm is, you can look him up on a wiki. He's definitely not a Trickery Cleric. Death Count thinks insight and medicine. And Dark Wolf. Okay, we'll do that. Insight and medicine. We will... let's see. We get our Divine Domain. Does Trickery give us anything? I doubt it's going to give us Warhammer proficiency. Tempest, Trickery... Okay, no, nothing like that. We are going to get a bonkin' stick. Yay. If we don't want a mace because we want to build a dex character, we can, I don't know, give him a dagger or a quarterstaff or something. I mean, something else that's thematic and appropriate. We'll put mace as a holding spot. Scale mail, leather armor, or chainmail if proficient. Well, we're going to be stealthing around, and I think if we go to Chapter 5 real quick, scale mail does impose disadvantage on stealth. And, of course, chainmail does too. So I think leather is going to be the best case for us. Because we're a street preacher. A light crossbow and 20 bolts or any simple weapon. Probably go for the light crossbow. Though if you do want him to have another simple weapon of some kind, maybe we can replace the mace with something along those lines. A priest pack or an explorer's pack. Aha. A priest pack has, ritual incense and candles and things like that. I could see him having either, right? If he's kind of this downtrodden, priest on the streets, he can set up a little holy spot anywhere, that there are people huddled together around a little fire to stay warm in this rundown neighborhood, administering aid. Now, he is lawful evil, is he going to go out of his way? Maybe not, but maybe he sells his blessings then. He knows that he's been blessed and he sells or tricks people, but still, he would have the kit to be able to do that. Or would we want to give him an explorer's pack, which is more meant for travel? I travel around more. He'll get a shield, which we can put up here, and a holy symbol, which we can put down here. Bubonic one is thinking he should have, as tentative stats, 10, 14, 12, 8, 15, and 13. Delcorin, I'm Team Blue, whoever they are. Can we give him a Warhammer proficiency? Oh, I bet he picks Tau. Got it. What were you referencing, Delcorin? Yeah, go ahead, Bubonic. I can presume, but there may be people watching who don't know the support. Like, you are also helping to teach by throwing out suggestions, Bubonic, and even like Tin Cat. You're helping to entertain others who are in lurk mode, maybe newcomers, so that they feel more comfortable and welcome. That we're not some super serious power gaming min-max channel or something like that. The blue people, the ones that are good looking from the ankles up. Oh, is that the Deva? Or the Asimar? Which are kind of the opposite of tieflings? We'll give him an explorer's pack. That makes sense. Spellcasting, don't worry about that just yet until we have our final stats. We are going to get our Divine Domain. Yep, that's good. Second level, we are going to get Channel Divinity. If any of you out there have questions on these placeholders you're seeing, what is City Secrets? What does Expert Forgery mean? Please ask, and I will show you. I'm using the titles as placeholders on the sheet because there could be a lot of information here. If you want to know specifically how something works, ask and I'll be sure to go and address that for you. Oh, the Tau? Or as some people call them, well, as some people, and of course is the internet, but as some people call them, blueberries. That's all I'm saying. I'm keeping this PG-13. Turn Undead. Yeah, they have sort of like flux capacitor slots in their face for noses. Now, does City Secrets work for any city he's in? Not necessarily. It could if you're, if the DM said as much. Here, we'll go back and look at it specifically. This is going to flash a little bit. Okay. It's a little bit of both, right? You know the secret patterns and flow to cities and can find passages through the urban sprawl that others would miss. When you're not in combat, you and companions you lead can travel between any two locations in the city twice as fast as you would normally allow. And then, of course, they give you a map to a city. If it were me as a DM, I'd say you can get through, unless something is weird about the city, it's established in some different way, you can get through any city. If we do something, this is very stereotypical, right? We have an invading empire and we're going to base it on the Romans. The Romans set up cities the same way. They had the same buildings and the same orientation, the same streets and whatever, because it made it familiar and it made it easy to navigate throughout the Roman Empire. In this instance, if we said that the Shadowhar Empire did the same thing, so all of their colonies or their conquered cities have been redeveloped so that the same offices are in the same place in the cities. So it's really just the city region and the name that's changed, but the layout is the same. You could extend City Secrets, I think, very easily. It wouldn't be until, well, if this Kenku character went down to a Mesotopian city, then your City Secrets maybe at a disadvantage or something like that. Because look, a sewer's a sewer and you know how it works, and generally things dump out into water and you go from there. So it wouldn't be useless, but maybe it wouldn't be as readily available because you're completely outside the country, or you're far outside the cultural and architectural realm from whence you learned to be an urchin. Or had it imposed on you. That's probably a little bit more proper. Yeah, I want to grow up and be an urchin. Alright, so we're getting Turn Undead, and we're going to get a second aspect from our domain. This is now going to turn into... Instead of just turn, this is now destroy undead, and this is going to be at less than 3 CR. Which is a little heart. Oh, I heart undead. We are also going to receive Divine Intervention. You can call on your deity to intervene on your behalf when your need is great. Imploring your deity's aid requires you to use your action. Describe the assistance you seek and roll percentile dice. If you roll a number equal to or lower than your cleric level, your deity intervenes. The DM chooses the nature of the intervention. The effect of any cleric spell or cleric domain spell would be appropriate. If your deity intervenes, you can use this feature again. You can't use it again for 7 days. Otherwise, you can use it again after you finish a long rest. At 20th level, your call for intervention succeeds automatically, no roll required. Tin Cat loves the streets. Bubonic One says, I'm not saying he's not stupid. He got lots of street smarts, but he has little in the way of true education. Well, yes, the street smarts is more of it's common sense, that kind of a thing. He might want more strength because of the fact he's probably living on his own even to this day, so he might have to carry all he owns with him. Your strength score is a carrying capacity. He's not stupid. Sorry, street smarts is more wisdom based. Yep, that's true. And that's where we get the Tin Cat saying I love the streets. Delcorin says oysters, clams, cockles. Oysters, clams, and cockles. Bubonic 1, knowing where to go to get around something is a perception as opposed to investigation. Yeah, depending on how you want to play it up. That would be, can you as this player present it in a way that you would use perception instead of investigation? Knowledge, nature, trickery, domain. We're going to get some bonus spells. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's look at the goodies we get, first of all. Starting when you choose this domain at first level, you can use your action to touch a willing creature other than yourself to give it advantage on dexterity stealth checks. This blessing lasts for 1 hour or until you use this feature again. If you have the big knight in armor who goes clang, clang, clang and gets disadvantage on stealth, you could at least cancel the disadvantage and give a straight up roll. Or if you have a ranger who is good at being stealthy but maybe isn't proficient, or you want a competent stealthing partner, you can grant the power of stealth. Channel Divinity. Invoke Duplicity. As an action, you create a perfect illusion of yourself that lasts for 1 minute, or until you lose your concentration, as if you were concentrating on a spell. The illusion appears in an unoccupied space that you can see within 30 feet of you. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the illusion up to 30 feet to a space you can see, but it must remain within 120 feet of you. For the duration, you can cast spells as though you were in the illusion space, but you must use your own senses. Additionally, when both you and your illusion are within 5 feet of a creature that can see the illusion, you have advantage on attack rolls against that creature, given how distracting the illusion is to the target. Mine. We are also going to get Channel Divinity, Cloak of Shadows. As an action, you become invisible until the end of your next turn. You become visible if you attack or cast a spell. Bubonic One says it's a scary ability if you know how to use it. Are you talking about perception? We are also going to get Divine Strike. You gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with poison, a gift from your deity. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 poison damage. And in this case, it's going to be 2d8 because of our level. And we're just shy of improved duplicity. That would have, we could create 4 duplicates. Mine. Instead of 1 when you use Invoke. Oh, the Invoke Duplicity? Yeah, you could do some real fun stuff with that. Okay. As I haven't really heard any counters to Bubonic's proposal for the stat spread, let's add in our racial modifiers. Remember, Kenku's got 1 in Wisdom, so that's going to put him up to a 16. And a 2 in Dex, that's going to put a 16 there as well. We are level 16, and we rolled that we will not be getting any feats for this character. That means that we get an ASI or an ability score improvement, or a stat bump, at 4, 8, 12, and 16. An ASI gives you 2 points to 1 stat, 1 point to 2 stats. Or you can take a feat, but we've already taken that off the table. As Bubonic One is saying, we can max out Wisdom and Dexterity if we wish. Right? Because if we get 4 of them, so 2 and 2 is 4. We dump that to make a 20 dex. 2 and 2 is 4 into wisdom. Wisdom is important for clerics. That is your spellcasting ability. And dex is important. We're having some stats there, or some skills. And it's going to be an offensive, a non-magical offensive and defensive stat for us. That said, I don't disagree with you, Bubonic One. I think this character would do something like that. I can challenge you if you didn't want to. You can dump something. You know, if you talked about Bubonic. Actually, how about this? I'll meet you kind of halfway. Why don't we'll put 2 of those 4 into Wisdom. Why don't we put another one into Dex? But if he's going to be carrying stuff around, and especially if he has this Charisma saving throw and Deception, why don't we do this? Let's give him an 11 Strength and a 14 Charisma with the 4th one. That will give him another stat bump here, or another modifier bump in Charisma. And while this won't mechanically increase his Strength mod to a +1 from a 0, this 11 will give him extra weight he can carry with him. You like that idea, Bubonic? And I can throw out almost a general disclaimer of, just because we're deciding to max out an important stat such as Wisdom here, that doesn't mean that you can run a cleric with low Wisdom. This is going to be roleplay. It'll be interesting for roleplay, but not all your spells need attack rolls or saves. So you can actually have a low potency cleric, and instead, I don't know, you get a bunch of buffs and you want to make a beat face cleric, put it into like strength and con, and then support yourself with your spells, something like that. All right, so if we do this, we can now ripple these numbers throughout the rest of the character sheet, and things are going to make a lot more sense. This is going to be a 0 strength, 4 dex, 1 con, -1 int, a 5 wisdom, and a 2 charisma. At this level, our proficiency, right, we're level 16, we're looking right here, is +5. We are going to know 5 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see why I don't just start at level 1 and do everything procedurally, because we can just dump everything in each of these columns as necessary. Our spell slots are 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. We can also do, if we want, this little space on the revised sheet is usually used for things like sorcery points, key points. You can use it for bardic inspiration, wild shape with a druid. In this case, if you want, you can put channel divinity. We can use it twice a rest, and we've used it 0 times. That'd be very interesting, considering we have a male bird character, King. Well, for strength, this is going to be 0 and 0. Right, we're just carrying over the modifier, and if we're proficient, which the black dot indicates, we'll add our proficiency bonus up here. Our dex, 4. However, 9 acrobatics, 9 sleight of hand, 9 stealth. Con is 1. We're just going to copy and paste this -1 into all these fields. Oh, geez. 10. Saving throw, insight, and medicine. 5 animal handling, perception, and survival. 7. Saving throw and deception. 2 intimidation, performance, and persuasion. Ah, I see what you did there, Dark Wolf. Clever girl. Our passive perception is 10 plus your perception modifier. And again, that reflects how generally aware of your surroundings you are without having to look, having to listen. You know, do you live next to train tracks? Do you, if you're taking a shower, you know, and you're singing, doing whatever, can you hear a train go past you? Or close to you? And you're like, yeah, that, you don't even pay attention to, or you hear it, but you don't pay attention because, yeah, I know what that is. I don't think that's how you're supposed to use those, King. We are, by the way, a medium creature. No dark vision for the Kenku. Our initiative, well, your initiative is a dexterity check, so it's going to be a +4. That's what our modifier is. Our armor class, well, leather gives you 11 plus your dex mod. So we have a 15, aha. Though we do have a shield, meaning that we are at 17 if we're using a shield. We can calculate our hit points. We are a D8 hit die class. So at level 1, you get your maximum. At level 1, you start with 8. Every other level, I suggest going half plus 1 of your hit dice. That means for 15 other levels, right? 8 was 1, plus 15 is 16. So for 15 other levels, we are going to get 5 hit points. And for every level, including first, so this is going to be a 16, you get a bonus hit point for every con modifier that you have. We have a +1 for Constitution, 16 plus 1. This is about as bad as the algebra gets in D&D. Here we go. We have a 16, plus the 8 is going to be a 24. 5 times 5 is 25, put the 2, so we have plus 75. So this character has 99 hit points. Congratulations. Well, it's just fluff at his crest, but secretly we all know it's under those feathers. Be back in 15. Good game, says, or no, 99. I thought that was 2 lowercase g's. Right, you spend too much time on Twitch and you see that often. Yep, 99 hit points. Now, as this is a strength-based melee weapon, as we are making a dex-based character, we can go over here and see if there's maybe a finesse weapon that would be appropriate instead. A dagger is finesse, and it looks like that's about it for... although, if we don't want to make him melee, we could. I mean, a dagger you could throw. We could give him another simple weapon of some kind. A short bow or a sling, something like that. Hi, Raikon. Good to see you back. We'll give him a dagger, though. And we'll give him some melee capability. This is going to be your ability modifier relevant to that weapon, plus your proficiency because you're proficient. Plus 9 to hit with a dagger. Plus 9 to hit with a light crossbow. Dagger is 1d4 plus your ability modifier. Light crossbow is a d8. 1d8 plus ability modifier. Both of these are piercing damage. Oh, he's earned a name. He's not just a set of stats anymore. Lastly, for the math, we can calculate our 2-hit with our spell attacks, which is going to be similar as your weapons, but it'll use your spellcasting modifier. In this case, we'll actually be hitting harder. Your attack is going to be 5 plus your proficiency. So if we're casting a spell that we need to aim our feathers at and pew pew, plus 10. The difficulty to avoid your spell, just add 8 to your attack. 18. Yeah, yep, Civil Dagger. That does seem to be the the appropriate. Although it would be interesting. You can make kind of a thug cleric, like an enforcer, a bouncer cleric, you know, a tough guy cleric, and you could walk up with a with that mace or a quarterstaff or something, and just go nuts. Technotron, what might be working on? We are making character number 1 of 5 for this week's campaign. And this week we are focusing on races from Volo's Guide to Monsters. We're doing so because last week we left our Mesotopia region a little bit to send our normal races out scouting the Shadowheart Empire. Well, now we're going to go to a different outlying area of this Shadowheart Empire, and we're going to see a little bit of maybe a revolution occur. Some of these bestial tribes are going to rise up against their Shadowheart, their oppressors, and go from there. And yeah, Rycon, so we did, this is for the most part D&D 101. We do it to challenge ourselves, to tell a story, to help others learn how to play D&D and to make characters. Normally we just use the core 3 books, Monster Manual, DMG, and Player's Handbook. We are adding one extra splat book here called Volo's Guide to Monsters. And that is dictating what we are receiving as a character for the race. In fact, this is almost like a very good representation of a Kenku Trickery Cleric. Hey, Derek. I take the spiders, I find and bring them to dark alleys. Spicy Larry! Things got a little bit spicier in here now. Everyone watch out. Wow, nice. Spicy Larry comes on the scene. Yeah, that's a great start. Orange Jelly, hey, good to see you. Welcome back. Okay, we are a cleric. Trickery. Spells prepared, your cleric level plus your spellcasting modifier. In this case, it's going to be 21. That does not include your domain spells. You'll get your domain spells all day, every day. This is what you want custom on top of them. Our spellcasting ability is going to be Wisdom. And if you remember, it's going to be your proficiency bonus. At this level, it's 5. Plus your spellcasting modifier, which is 5. And if you want, you can do... We can do Channel Divinity twice a day if you want to put that over here in this extra circle. Technotron, nice. I made an Orc and Kobold not too long ago. Pack Tactics is great when you have a party member as a mount. That's great, Technotron. You know what? One of my guys opened up a... it was in Monster Menagerie 3 in the prepackaged minis. And it's an ogre that has a catapult on his back. On one shoulder, there's a goblin kind of like guiding him because he's like whispering in his ear or something. And there's another goblin on, like in the basket of the catapult wearing a spiked helmet who's all kind of clenched up and ready to go. Oh, Dark Wolf, that's a... That's a name suggestion that you'd like to put out there is Tyrik Trait. Okay. We have 5 cantrips. Your cantrips as a cleric do not change every time you wake up, nor do your domain spells. Everything else, pray for what you want when you want it. It's 16. This was 4333. 1 and 7th level. We have 1 7th level spell. Oh, 111. And we have an 8th level. Trickery domain. We're going to fill these in first. Remember, I like indicating where we're getting our spells from to make it easier on us and on any DM who would want to look at our page. Okay. Charm person. Disguise self. Mirror image. Pass without trace. Blink. Oh, nice. Dispel magic. Haha. Dimension door. Polymorph. Dominate person. And modify memory. The other 21 spells, where do you want them? 1, 2, 3, or do you want to put 2 in each of these so you're down 6 of your 21? What would be the average, like if we were to make this, it's not even a spell book, but if we were to prepare spells for an average day in the life of this Kenku, what would it be? Your day-to-day spell suite will reflect your disposition, your current state of stress or emotion or activity. For sure, you have this on your spell sheet. You're going to have these 5 fixed cantrips. Then you can spread out the 21 spells any other way that you'd like. Clerics have all spells known to them. You just can only choose a certain number of them among all of the slots in which you can cast. Spicy Larry says Tyrik carrot, pronounced like carrot. Oh, because that's the opposite, so it's a palindrome. Any thoughts on what to do when you're thinking of scrapping a campaign? Just having that blatant conversation with your players, you know, everyone sits down and you say, look, you know, here we're at our session. I'm glad you're having fun. I presume they're having fun. I'm finding it very difficult. And these are the reasons why. I would, if you do want to run for them, be honest. Say, I would love to run for you, but I need something more or something else. If what I'm looking for is going to cause a big change, I'm willing to discuss, you know, having something change up. But I can't continue to run like this. I have a conflict of time, of interest. It's not, I'm not having fun, and it's important that I have fun too. You have to be forward and polite, very tactful. Good advice, King. What about that amazing mansion you can summon once every 24 hours? I think clerics have a version of that, Delcorin, though they don't get Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. Spicy Larry, that will ruin the naming scheme, though. It could be interesting still. Maybe that's maybe on the streets or something. Like what? This could be his street name. Is Tyrik Trait. But you know, maybe in certain circles he goes around and he's known as Carrot. So we have a carrot snake and a carrot crow, or carrot Kenku. All right, well, here's our character. I mean, so shy of putting in the spells themselves, which, again, it's any spell out of this. What would you want to arrange for this character? He's finished. You know, upload character art and some details, too. Eyes, skin, and hair. Oh, you know what? Let's roll a trinket. This is what, this is the memory of his parents or some other Urchin-esque memory from when he was a child. He's still hanging on to something. This is going to be a percentile roll once I get there. This is going to flash a little bit. And here we go. Roll a percentile. 3. A gold coin minted in an unknown land. Ooh. Perhaps Mesotopia? Trinket number 3. Oh, he has a pet also. You wanted to give him a pet raven? We'll call the raven Tyrik. Or, I'm sorry, not Tyrik. Carrot. Oh, come on. Why am I derping on this? Kiryt. No, whatever. It's like, would it be like 2 pounds maybe at most? I guess we'll just put it on a line. Armor class 12, hit points 1. .10 walking speed and 50 fly speed. Don't have to worry about the others. No dark vision or anything like that. Skills, it does have perception. It also has mimicry. 1 point of damage with its beak. There we go. I'm catching up on what Derek is saying here. Bluntly, I'm just not invested in the characters or what's going on, and it's gotten to a point where I'm starting to just get frustrated with the players on an out-of-character basis. Trying to be patient, and while most GMs say if players are having fun, I'm having fun, I'm not wired that way. Civil Hermit says, ask your players if one of them wants to take over the GM seat. If you can't find a change that keeps you interested. Delcorin, crap, only bards and wizards get that mansion. Derek says, for me, it's about PCs I want to be invested in. The PCs we were proud to hear stories about. Grand adventures and tales to be whispered as cautionary tales, but right now, honestly, the adventure can burn in a fire, and I would consider it a relief, not a loss. King asks, what are your players invested in? Romantic Day. Says you should kill all the characters. Oh, I don't know about that Romantic Day. That's a little drastic. Derek says, like I said, players are having a blast, getting necks broken, falling down chimneys, rushing through an entire area due to OOC knowledge, and being as flavorful as cardboard. King says, getting necks broken, falling down chimneys. Oh, it's a Gremlins campaign. Derek, here's an awesome idea for a character. How can I make it as bland as possible? Dark Wolf, try flipping maps or shuffling rooms to minimize meta knowledge. Derek says, tried, literally skipped the rooms altogether, and even when I changed it blatantly, it just became, well, let's just say I'm honestly thinking I should just burn my COS book. Oh my gosh. Sounds like you're trying to make a table with a stapler. And Tycho Boom, unfortunately, gets the salt for 400 EXP. Alright, that's pretty much everything here. You can't really carry too much. Doesn't have a high strength score. You might be able to give it a piece of paper. There we go. There's Carrot, who's Tyrik's pet. Pet Raven. Cool. Dun, 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 dun. We did it. I'm going to get up and get a drink of water. I'm going to go do my thing. And we will get things reset and make monster character numero 20 and continue our journey into Volo's Guide to Monsters.